You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Welcome to From Beneath the Hollywood Sign. If you love old movies, Hollywood history, or the golden age of filmmaking, you've come to the right place. This is the podcast that talks about amazing stories of Tinseltown from another era and fascinating conversations with writer-producer Steve Cubine and actress-writer Nan McNamara.
So, Steve, did Ava Gardner and Howard Hughes have a good relationship?
Well, they did until he dislocated her jaw.
What?
Well, don't worry. She hit him back with an ashtray.
From Beneath the Hollywood Sign is the gin joint for you.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neil, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
The cream of the crop!
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Jeff, and I will be your host today. Joining me for today's game as scorekeeper is Ken. How's it going, Ken?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
And our players today are Matt and Neil.
How's it going?
How's it going, everyone?
All right, so today we're actually going to have a 1-versus-1 match, and it is going to be Matt and Neil against each other. So you guys ready for this today?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a little worried. Jeff, is known to have hard questions in our practice rounds, so I'm hoping that Matt and I at least get over 25 points.
Yeah, we're shooting low, and then we'll see how it goes.
I think you guys will be okay today.
All right, just doing a quick rundown of the rules. Game is simple, 20 questions in a variety of topics worth 10 points apiece, and that'll be split into 2 rounds. At the halftime, we'll have a special round designed by our host. And in this case, one player can take a lead over another and make up some ground for a comeback. At the end of regulation, we'll have a final round where our players can take the points they've accumulated and bet them on specific categories for 5 questions. Not to exceed the points they've earned, but they can bet up to 30 points per question. Now, without further ado, I will throw it back to Jeff, and we can jump into the game to find out who is the cream of the crop.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
All right, thanks, Ken. You gentlemen ready?
Yep.
Let's do it.
So, round 1, question 1. In ancient Rome, a vomitorium was a room that served what function? And I'm willing to take a variety of answers so long as it suits the correct purpose.
Got some grim looks on the contestants' faces.
Because I don't know it at all, but I have an idea, and I know it's wrong, but I'm going to put it anyway.
I feel like mine is wrong, too, and it's unfortunate because Matt and I both majored in Rome studies at the University of Oxford.
That's very specific.
Yeah. It was a minor. So.
Oh, you minored in
Yeah.
Rome studies.
Rome studies.
It was my blow-off degree.
I have an answer in. I'm not confident about it, but I'm just going to go with it.
And Matt is writing down an answer.
All right. Both of you gentlemen are set with an answer?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Let's throw it to Neil to see what you thought.
So, vomitorium, for some reason, made me think, obviously, of vomiting, of expelling liquids. And so I'm not sure exactly how to... I know you said there's a couple different answers, but I was saying that it had to do with water, maybe like a sewer or some sort of like irrigation. So I put like water/sewer.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I like that. Matt?
Yeah, so I was thinking the same thing. Vomitorium, obviously something to do with vomit, but that's a very specific thing to have in one particular room. So I just put general bathroom things. So
I'm glad that you didn't go with the common thought, which is a vomitorium was a room where Romans would literally throw up their food. That this room and its name lends credence to that myth, but a vomitorium is an entrance or exit to a building. Vomitorium, it's the room which people literally spew forth. So
the spewing is what makes it the vomitorium.
And that's why I like that you went with different things than I was anticipating. So that was nice.
Yeah, good reasoning, but just couldn't quite get there.
Right.
All right.
So on to question 2. No witches were actually burned at the stake during the Salem witch trials. What was the most common form of execution?
That's a nice question there.
I think I know this one, and I'm not going to second guess myself, so I'm going to confirm my answer on my page.
Yep, I'm good.
All right. Let's throw. How about Matt this time?
I don't remember. I think it was from either a TV show or movie. I remember them binding someone and throwing them in the lake or the river. So I said drowning.
Okay. And Neil?
I was on a similar path as Matt. I somehow remember them putting weights on the supposed witches' legs and tying them up and throwing them in the river or the lake and drowning them. So I put drowning as well.
So while you are correct that a few were drowned and one was stoned, the majority were hanged.
Man, that was my second guess.
Gotta remember the crucible on that one.
Yep.
I thought hung was too easy as the other answer, so I kind of went away from that.
That's why I was going to say hanging, and I was like, oh, that's too easy. So I thought drowning would be more interesting.
No, it's easy, but it's also correct.
All right, 0 for 2. Killing it so far.
Yeah, I think things will get better. So, but we'll see. Question 3. Famously short, within 2 inches, how tall was Napoleon?
Solid question as well. See, I like these. Wish I was playing today.
Okay. My answer is in.
I'm in, too.
Okay. And Neil?
So I know that is kind of a trick question because he was not famously short. He was basically average compared to everyone else. And I don't know for sure what the exact height is. I want to say it was either 5'7" or 5'9", but I went with 5'7" to get me 5'9" and 5'5". So I went 5'7".
Yeah, because I know he's not like as short as everyone said, and I know that the average height of a male back then is a little bit shorter than now, so I was thinking somewhere around 5'5", 5'4", but I thought it might have been shorter, so I said 5'2".
Okay, Neil, you are actually correct. You were dead on. 5'7" is how tall Napoleon was. The confusion comes in with the fact that the French had a slightly different measurement for inches. So Napoleon was, I believe, 5'2" or 5'3" by the French measurement system, which is 5'7" in English units. So you are in fact correct, Neil.
So half points for me, right?
Well, that's why he's famously short. They named the Napoleonic complex after him, but turns out he was about.
He's 1 inch shorter than me.
A little, maybe actually he may have been a little bit above average height. So, all right. So on to question 4. Disney is one of the most successful film companies of all time. However, they are also responsible for producing what film, which is the single least profitable movie ever made, with losses exceeding $200 million?
I like that.
I have an answer.
I think I know this one.
And I don't know if it's a Disney movie, but I feel like it might be, so I'm locked in with an answer.
The film is a Disney film?
It is a Disney film. Matt's already locked in, so I won't give you any further clarification or hints, but it was definitely produced by Disney. I've got the cover right here. It says it right above the title.
Now I feel better about my answer.
Right above the title it says Disney?
Yep, it's a Disney movie.
Well, now I feel worse about my answer.
Do you want to unlock for the extra
No,
hints?
I don't care.
Okay.
The extra hint's not going to get me anywhere. So
I would give you the year if you would want it.
I'll take the year.
I'll take the year. Then.
Okay, 2012.
Yep, I'm unlocking. Oh, I know what this was. That helps a lot.
All right, I'm in.
All right, Matt.
Seems like that was the key for these guys.
Yeah, because I was thinking I was in the 60s through 80s going through a bunch of movies, and I was like, there's no way. I couldn't think of one that was produced by Disney. I knew other ones that were unsuccessful, and then once you said the year, I figured it out.
Well, the year I was only giving you for clarification, so the $200 million is not an adjusted figure. It's an actual figure. That's why I thought I would throw that out there.
Yeah, because I initially was thinking Waterworld, and then I was trying to fight if it was a Disney movie somehow, if they produced it, or if it was some kind of subsidiary of Disney, because I know that's one of the biggest flops ever and lost a ton of money. But I put John Carter.
All right, Neil?
I also put John Carter or John Carter of Mars.
John Carter is, in fact, the correct answer. Well done.
I didn't see it, so I didn't.
Nobody did.
Yeah.
That was Disney's problem.
Yeah, I think that was the problem.
All right, on to question 5, our listener-submitted question. If you have one that you'd like to send us to incorporate into the game, please make sure to send us an email to trivialitypodcast@gmail.com. And in the subject line, put question 5. We'll choose one for each half. If you would include the name of the host that you'd like to read it, we'd greatly appreciate it. Today's questions, both of them, come from Ryan in Chicago. Thanks, Ryan. Question 5 for today. While they did not land on the moon, Apollo 13 astronauts did achieve what feat that stands to this day?
So this is something unique just to them?
This is something that the 3 of them accomplished that no other astronauts have.
I'm thinking of the movie, and I'm getting...
Yeah, Neil's got to think of the movie.
I do, yeah.
All I could think of was the movie.
Well, I'm confusing it now with several other movies where they did certain things in space.
Mission to Mars. Red Planet.
There may be other things that they've done, but I'm looking for one specific unique superlative. One thing that they've done that no one has yet surpassed.
I have an idea. It just sounds so dumb because it's reminding me of all these other movies, and everyone does it now. In every space movie, it seems to be a plot point, but it just doesn't seem correct. I haven't seen that movie in a long time either.
Got some writing.
My answer is going to sound so
some
stupid.
writing happening.
Yeah, mine's going to sound stupid too, so don't worry.
No, that's not right.
Well, Matt seems to be set. Neil's thinking it over.
So I'll just say out loud what I'm thinking. So first, I was thinking it had to do with like making a safe landing in the ocean. But if I'm correct, I think the escape pod of John Glenn, not that he didn't go to the moon or anything, but that he landed in the water. But then the only word that keeps coming in my head, and it makes me feel like an idiot, is that they did a slingshot around the moon to gain momentum to get back to Earth because they didn't have enough thrust, and they used the gravitational pull of the moon. So I'm gonna, that's what I'm gonna go with, is that they used the moon to get back to Earth.
Okay.
Right, so I actually had a similar thought. I remember that from the movie that they had to go around the moon and use the gravitational force to slingshot. So I said that they were the only one to actually completely orbit the moon.
Okay. So the answer that I was looking for is that Apollo 13 astronauts, because of all of the time they spent in space, were actually the human beings to travel the farthest from Earth. No one has ever been farther from Earth than Apollo 13's astronauts.
Interesting.
We weren't close.
Well, I think it was okay.
Yeah.
Well, I believe other astronauts have orbited the moon because they were orbiting the moon. So Apollo 11, they orbited the moon while waiting for them on the moon. So you'd have to be in orbit.
What was that guy's name? Alan Shepard?
Alan Shepard was the one who played golf in Apollo 17.
Oh, no, that's right. Who's the one who was... that's the one career
Michael
question.
Collins.
Collins, that's right. I always mix him up with Tom Collins, the drink.
So, all right. So on to question 6. Speaking of the moon, have there been more people to walk on the moon or more people to travel to the bottom of the Marianas Trench? Both considered hostile and inhospitable places for humans to go.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Sure. Have more people walked on the moon or traveled to the bottom of the Marianas Trench?
All right, my answer's in.
Yeah, mine too.
Okay. Matt?
So for the moon, I believe it's 2, because only 2 were, or it's at least 2. It could be 3. I can't remember now. I didn't think that it was possible to walk on the bottom of the Marianas Trench with the amount of pressure would destroy your internal organ.
Nobody's ever walked down there.
Okay.
But people have been down there in submarines.
Okay. Well, I'm still going to say the moon then.
So I went trench for a couple different reasons. The first reason was I didn't think there were that many people that walked on the moon, and I know a lot of people like James Cameron who are explorers like going to the trench to do some research. And I just figured since you just asked a moon question, you probably wouldn't ask another one or another answer about the moon, so I just went with trench on that theory as well.
Okay. So Matt is correct. More men have walked on the moon than been to the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
I think it's in the teens, though, right?
And it is by a factor of 4.
Okay.
12 people have walked on the moon.
That's a lot.
Only 3 people were brave enough to travel to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. And that was during one mission, if I'm not mistaken, one attempt.
Sweet.
So points for Matt to tie it up.
And they were only down there for about 20 minutes, and then glass broke on the submarine, and they had to start resurfacing.
You don't want to see that.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah. So I was right for mostly the wrong reasons, but that's okay. I'll take it.
Yeah, 12 different people walked on the moon. All right. So on to question 7. I guess I was on a bit of a remote places list here. So question 7. The island of Tristan da Cunha is the most remote inhabited place on Earth. Less than 100 people, if I'm not mistaken, live there. What continent is it nearest?
Can you spell it?
Sure. Tristan, Tristan, space, DE, space, CUNHA.
And can you use it in a sentence? No, I'm
Sure.
kidding. Okay.
The island of Tristan da Cunha.
I'm good.
Oh, da Cunha.
As if that suddenly changes everything.
I just saw the travel brochure the other day, so I'm pretty confident in this one.
Well, you'd have to catch a boat once every few months. That's how infrequently this place is traversed.
Least inhabited. It just all that's coming to my head right now is the famous love story of Tristan and Isolde, which I have no idea if that has anything to do with it, but that's all that's in my head, being the artsy one. So I don't know why. I was thinking of James Franco, how terrible he was. All right, I feel like an idiot, but I'm going to put an answer in because this game isn't like going anywhere for me anyway. So I'm in.
I like how you could have mentioned, the opera.
I could have
Tristan and Isolde, but you went right for James Franco.
I'm trying to build our female audience.
The James Franco film.
The James Franco film.
All right. And Matt, you said your answer's in?
Yep.
All right. Well, Neil looked quite unsure, so let's ease his pain. I'll go straight to him.
Make it quick. I just assumed least inhabited. My reasoning is I went with Antarctica only because I assumed that there are scientists there, and technically they are inhabiting that area, and there's only maybe 100 of them, so I put Antarctica.
Okay. And Matt?
Yeah, so especially when you said that they only take boats there, you said once every few months or something, that kind of reminded me of something I heard the other day, that they actually run marathons on Antarctica, on an island that's just off Antarctica, very sparsely inhabited. So it kind of made me think of that, and that's why I said Antarctica.
Okay. So the island of Tristan da Cunha is in the South Atlantic. It is between Antarctica, South America, and Africa. It is the most remote inhabited place because it's the farthest from any other inhabited place on Earth, but it is nearest the continent of Africa. It's actually basically right in the middle of that triangle between South America, bottom of South Africa.
We needed to be the closest.
It was a trick.
Yeah. Why is it so uninhabited?
So when you were thinking, when I mentioned that people only travel there a few times a year, that's just to supply the inhabitants basically with necessities, supplemental food items. I don't know why it was inhabited in the first place, but there's only a few, I think less than a few hundred people who live there as permanent residents. So,
did you say somebody's running marathons in Antarctica?
Yeah, because there's some kind of like medal that they give for someone who's run a marathon on every continent. So I do know that they
who cares? No way. No.
One of the hardest mountains in the world to climb is also in Antarctica. But there have been a handful of people who've made that attempt. And
see, when those people die from exhaustion or frostbite or falling off mountains, like I kind of don't have a lot of sympathy for them. It's like, don't climb the hardest mountain to climb in the world in Antarctica and freeze to death. But
it's like the first section on YouTube comments.
So when you see a movie about like climbing Everest or something, you're cheering for the mountain.
Yeah, I'm pro mountain. No, obviously I want them to succeed.
Did you root for space in Apollo 13 or?
No, I enjoyed that. But if someone's on a mountain and one of the characters is like, I don't need this extra layer of clothing and to eat this butter to stay hydrated or whatever. If they die, I'm sorry, man. You should have done the research.
Yep, just eat the stick of butter.
All the guides never die. They always live, and they do it like 10 times a day, so it's fine. Enough on that tangent. I know nothing about mountain climbing, so.
That's enough mountain talk. This next question's about mountains.
Speaking of mountains, no, I'm kidding. This is actually transitioning back towards some content areas I think the rest of you might enjoy a little bit more, specifically Matt. Question 8.
Yeah.
The NFL Players Union determined the average NFL career to be 3.3 years. Which position, with an average tenure of 2.57 years, is the shortest?
I'm almost positive on this one, but then I'll feel worse when I get it wrong, but I'm locked in.
I have a few trains of thought on this. It's not quarterback, because they're the most protected.
I will tell you that it's not being a kicker, because that's the complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
They have the longest tenure.
So I'm going, it's got to be someone who's on the line constantly, because that's the repeated hits over and over that cause CTE. I know a lot of the people who have CTE are linebackers, because they're always either rushing into the line on a blitz, or they're gaining more speed than a lineman would when they're they're shuffling to block. So I'm struggling right now if I should go between a offensive or defensive lineman, or just, I don't even know, according to you, if I said lineman, if that would count. Or do I go linebacker, who's going to rush the box a little bit and use his helmet. Trying to think who would be taking the most hits. It's got to be.
This is really fun to watch, just so you know.
Screw it. I'm just going to go with linebacker.
All right. So Neil says linebacker. Matt, you look a little bit more assured of yourself.
Well, I think it's funny because the one that I put is something that Neil never even considered. I'm pretty sure it's running back. I've heard this repeatedly. Running back careers don't last very long. They get hit the most, and there's position scarcity as well, so there's less available positions. So I said running back.
So with an average tenure of 2.57 years, your best chance at making it in the NFL is probably not at running back.
Yeah. So, like, when you say lineman, the problem with that is even if you're not good, there's so many positions that need to be filled that your career is going to tend to last a little longer. They give you more chances.
That makes
sense.
sense.
With running backs, there's 10 to 15 that pop out of nowhere every single year, so they're very replaceable. So as soon as they get an injury, they're kind of out of the league.
Yeah, they're very injury prone. You probably have 2, maybe 3 in a good depth chart.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is going to be pretty phenomenal, and then the 2 and 3 are going to be usually all right. Linemen typically run on a standard 52-man roster. I want to say 7 to 9, depending on the team and their variability. So definitely running back.
Yeah, you were not even thinking offense. You're just like, it can't be an offensive player.
I know. I should have thought of running back. That
but they're the
makes
ones
total
taking
sense.
it. Makes more sense. They're the ones taking the hits.
The linemen the linebackers are hitting them,
and they're rushing into guys with their head down. I should have thought of that.
Frank Gore made it about 5 times as long as you'd expect him to.
Well, and Adrian Peterson and Matt Forte.
Well, Peterson's, did he hit the decade mark yet? Right about there?
He was at 06 or 07 draft.
07. So yeah, he's right about 10 years.
Yep.
Sorry, Frank, I did my math wrong. Frank Gore's, is it 12 years now?
Yeah, he was 05.
So 4 times the average career length, but he's up there. So I'm going to stick with sports a little bit.
All right.
This specifically has to do with hockey and
I'm out.
The Stanley Cup. So which 1972 Stanley Cup winner has their name misspelled on the trophy? And I'll give you a little bit of a hint. The O in the name has been replaced with Q.
The O in the name has been replaced with Q.
I was reading something about the firm that does the printing for the Stanley Cup. It's all done in a old-fashioned sort of way, so that's why these mistakes sometimes happen and misspelling of team and players' names. I think Christopher Stieg of the Blackhawks was misspelled, as was a few other players over the years.
I wouldn't be surprised. But this one, especially when you look at the photo, is quite funny.
Yeah,
I don't know much about hockey, and I'm trying to go through the teams. So, you have Boston Bruins. I mean, that's an O in there if it is including the city, or Detroit Red Wings. I'm just trying to think of who was good in the 70s, but I have no idea. When he first said the question, I thought maybe it was going to be like Canadiens, because they just spelled it Canadians instead of Canadiens. Just waiting for another movie question.
Slapshot.
Yep, Paul Newman. All right, I just don't want to take up more time. I'm just going to say Boston Bruins.
Okay, and Matt, what did you say?
Well, it is funny because you said there's no O in Canadians, but there is an O in Montreal. So it's Montreal Canadiens.
So you said Montreal Canadiens?
Yeah.
So despite his lack of knowledge of hockey,
he's right.
In 1972, following their 1971-1972 win, Boston Bruins, spelled BQSTQN Bruins.
Wow.
There's 2 Q's in it.
Yes.
Ay.
That was the trick.
I didn't want to give away 2 by saying
2.
I just said O was replaced with Q.
Wow, that is a stroke of luck.
So, question 10, last question of round 1. Another sports question. I guess I was on another bit of a kick here. Which U.S. city, is the only one to boast winning 3 major sports championships in the same year?
Well done.
3 major sports championships in 1 year?
Correct, and this is out of the 4 major sports. So, basketball, hockey, football, and
baseball.
To be fair, I guess if the 5th one I was thinking was the MLS, that wasn't around that long, so probably not very likely that would have been one of the sports I was talking about.
What are you thinking here, Matt? You're the sports guy.
So that MLS thing kind of threw me off a little bit.
I don't listen to him.
I know, but now I'm thinking there's one that I'm thinking of. It doesn't count
as a. You say the 4 major sports.
Right.
MLS
is it within one calendar year or from one, just any particular year? Because that kind of changes.
Within one calendar year. Within a 12-month period. essentially.
You didn't say a year, correct?
I did ask for the. I did not ask for the year, but I'll give it to you at the answer. But I did not ask for the year. I just wanted to know the city.
So I don't know if you stayed on your sports kick like you said, and it's another Boston one, because I was trying to think if the Red Sox won in like 03, something around that area, and that's when the Patriots also won. And I'm just trying to think if it's 2 out of 3, could the Boston Bruins have won? Because I know they've won like once or twice in between the Blackhawks' reign. So I'm there with Boston. I'm also kind of thinking of New York more recently with the Yankees and the Giants, but I feel like the Giants won much later than the Yankees did, like the last time the Yankees won. I'm trying to think of between baseball and football, and the only one that keeps coming to my head is Boston. Yeah, I'm going with Boston, the city of Boston, Mark Wahlberg's hometown.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler's friend, Mark Wahlberg.
Jimmy Butler. Hey, Jimmy. Impression jar. Hey,
So-
dog. Say hello to your mother for me.
I
It's
was
an impression of an impression.
It is, you're right. That Inception.
So I was also thinking Boston, and I was thinking it was the year that the Celtics won with KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. I believe 2007. I believe the Red Sox won, and I believe the Bruins had won that year. That was the year that the Patriots were undefeated and lost in the Super Bowl, so it wasn't the Patriots. But I believe it's Boston in that era.
Okay. So you have a great thought. Boston is one of the most prolific winning cities in those 4 sports categories. If I said the year was 1935, would that help at all?
So it's Philadelphia, isn't it? Is that what it is?
So it's actually Detroit.
Detroit.
Tigers beat the Cubs in the World Series. Lions won the National Football Championship, and the Red Wings claimed the Stanley Cup.
All right, so after the first round, it is tied at 30-30.
Moving on to our halftime today, it's just going to be a standard 5-question, 5-answer. Each one I'm going to give 10 points for. So we'll see if anybody can vie for a better position going into round 2.
Looking forward to this. Have no idea what to expect.
I'm just looking to get some points.
Yes, yeah.
Hopefully
30-30 isn't as attractive as we would like it to be.
We'll see how things look after the halftime. So the category is going to be bands with singers in the name. So I'm going to give you an example. I will say something like the Sunshine Band, and I will expect you to give me the singer.
Casey, okay.
Casey, exactly. So we'll start out with the E Street Band.
Okay.
The next one is the Silver Bullet Band.
Got it.
Nope.
His All-Star Band. The Magic Band.
That's the only one I'm not sure on. Okay.
These are getting a little obscure.
And Earth Band.
All right, I have 3 for sure.
I got 1, and then I have some lines.
I know I have 3 for sure. I think I might just make up an answer for the last 2 because I've never heard of those.
Is the Magic Band like, do they do tricks on stage, illusions, if you will?
I don't believe so.
Magic Band and Earth Band are really getting at me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever heard of them before.
I'm almost positive you have.
I have. Is this a guy who had a more successful solo career?
I won't go any further.
Or female?
Just going to tell you that you've probably heard of them.
Heard of them?
The bands, yes.
Oh, okay.
Neil's digging for hints here. He's not getting any.
I'm trying to think. So my reasoning is you have... I'm not going to give Matt too many hints, but...
It doesn't matter.
On the first 3, all successful... Well, 2 of them successful solo artists without their band, but they're more famous with their band. And the other one more successful for a group, but touring nicely with himself. So I'm trying to think if the other ones have to be someone who's great solo and then just has this band every so often. You know, I'm not even going to...
If it helps with your logic here, these were bands I could think of off the top of my head that met the criteria I said in the beginning. So there's no rhyme or reason.
If only you had Casey and the Sunshine Band in this part.
Right.
I had Casey and the Sunshine Band because I figured that could set a model that everybody would know right away.
Right.
So.
Well, I'm done. So.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So Neil seems a little bit more confident. Why don't we start? So E Street Band. What did you say?
So you would want to start with a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the boss, Bruce Springsteen.
Matt?
Yeah, Bruce Springsteen.
All right. Well done. Moving on, Neil also seemed to know the Silver Bullet Band's leader.
Let me turn the page on this answer. One of my mom's favorite singers of all time,
Well
Bob
played.
Seger.
Oh. I just said Clapton because I didn't know.
Clapton was a part of a lot of bands, but the Silver Bullet Band was, in fact, Bob Seger's. This one is a little bit right on the nose, but his all-star band, Neil?
That'll be Ringo Starr.
That would be Ringo Starr. Matt, what did you say?
Johnny Cougar.
Nope, John Cougar Mellencamp is incorrect. And on to the Magic Band. Neil, you were a little less confident about this one?
Did not know this one. I went with Shaquille O'Neal and the Orlando Magic Band.
I like it.
It's not
Matt?
terrible.
He did have a rap album, didn't he?
Shaq Fu, yeah.
Yeah.
And The Rain.
Yeah, he's had a couple.
Not that bad. And a Genesis game that I enjoyed playing.
Shaq Fu, terrible. I said Carlos Santana.
So the Magic
sounds-
Band was Captain Beefheart and the Magic Band.
Oh, come on. Who's going to know that? Captain Beefheart?
And that's off the top of your head.
Yeah. Not a very, pretty notable. I mean, they are out in the world, but a little bit more
what's a
obscure.
song?
Yeah, name one song.
Oh, off the top of my head.
Oh, you can't.
Oh, get out of here,
They
Jeff.
don't
This is-
exist. You only listen to
this
them
is
on
trash.
This is
It's a trash
vinyl. If any of you
question.
listeners actually know this band, feel free to tweet us, but I've never heard of it.
Or if Beefheart is listening at home.
Or Beefheart. Yeah.
Is the captain currently with us, or
So
has he passed?
So Captain Beefheart is dead.
Oh.
Okay.
So
See, I thought
he's
they were
not
all living,
listening. He's
so.
definitely not listening then.
So the Earth Band.
Earth made me think of just nature and whatnot, and there was like an experimental artist, maybe not even considered experimental, but he's pretty interesting, named Sun Ra, so I just put Sun Ra.
Okay, Matt.
So I was thinking of Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I couldn't think of anybody from the band, so I said Sammy Hagar because I love Sammy Hagar.
So the Earth Band became famous for covering a Bruce Springsteen song called "Blinded by the Light."
Oh, it's wait, don't tell me. It's oh shoot, it's not Gary Glitter. It's that's a great trivia question too. Everyone always thinks because Bruce Springsteen wrote that song and it sounds like a Bruce Springsteen song, but it's
If I gave you their other song, "I Came for You,"
I came for you. Yeah. What's the name of the guy? I can't think of it.
Manfred Mann.
Man for Man. Yes. Oh. That's a good question.
All right.
Manfred
So at the end of the midpoint round, we are 40-60 with Neil holding the brand new lead.
I'll take it.
Feels good. I'll wear it
You
for a
knew
while.
3, and Matt knew just the 1.
Those last two were way too tough.
Yeah,
Manfred Mann is a great one though. Wrapped up like a deuce, not a douche, ladies and gentlemen. Misheard lyrics.
You know what a deuce is?
I mean, I took one after coffee this morning. Other than that, I don't know.
I believe it's a engine or a car.
Isn't
car
it like a
thing.
little deuce coupe?
That makes sense. A little deuce coupe.
Two-door roadster.
Little Beach Boys reference. That's a great song.
Turning over in the night.
That's right.
Ah, Ken with the little detail there.
Well played. So, all right, starting round 2. I'm going to start it off with an easy one. Basically, it's a toss-up, 50-50 here.
All
True
right.
or false? Starting in 1990, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls never had a 3-game losing streak throughout his 8 years following.
I believe that's true, but I'm not sure anymore after the last couple sports questions.
And Neil?
I'm guessing it's true, but I just went with false because I could only think maybe the year of the best Bulls team ever that they didn't do that. But I would think maybe in like the first year or two they might have lost 3 games in a row. So I went with false.
So before 1990, Michael Jordan and the Bulls did struggle. But after that, true, they never had a 3-game losing streak.
That is
So
insane.
Matt's foundation isn't crumbling away as he had
Yeah,
thought as Jurassic.
they only had back-to-back losses a couple times. There was very few times, even in the season and a half that he didn't play, that Bulls team was still really good. So
That's crazy. What a stat.
Yeah, they were unstoppable.
pun intended.
Pun slightly intended. All right, question 2. What is the name of the popular Australian food spread used on sandwiches, toast, and pastries made from brewer's yeast?
Ah, my fellow Australia lover.
Yeah, Jeff and Neil have this Australia kick because they went on a trip there and can't stop talking about it, even though it happened 15 plus years ago.
Yeah, so I went in 97. You went in what?
I went in 2000.
2000. Yeah, so we went, quick backstory. Our gym teacher taught us Australian rules football, which is a great sport. And when I went, we went with a team. We were the first Americans to go over there, student team, to play against other Australians in their own sport, and got our butts kicked. But it was really fun, and I became a lifelong Collingwood Magpies fan, and I'll let Jeff go with his lesser team, which is the rival of the Collingwood Magpies, but he can talk about them.
So I don't know what he's talking about. The Carlton Blues are one of the most successful AFL teams of all time. So Neil can back off.
But unfortunately, Magpies were the last team in that duo to win a grand final.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
That's fair. They've not been good for a long time.
Grand final? That sounds made up.
No, that's their Super Bowl. Yeah, grand final.
That's made up.
It's like they call it the World Championship and don't let other countries play.
So, Neil, what do you think?
I went with Vegemite.
Yeah. Learned from the hit song Land Down Under, something Vegemite sandwich. Vegemite.
I believe she just smiled and handed me a Vegemite sandwich.
That's probably
yes, it would be Vegemite.
Now, who's had this?
I've had it.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's very salty.
I liked it. So
You're
Matt
a
hasn't
weirdo.
had it?
No.
Ken uses it as a beard oil.
I probably would not eat it often just because of how salty it is, but
it's good to have once in a while.
I didn't think it tasted
We
bad
can
on a
make it
cracker. It's fine.
a Patreon goal. We'll YouTube me eating Vegemite for the first time.
It's basically
The
like
stuff that we
tar they scrape out of beer barrels. You'll be fine.
The stuff that we put the Vegemite on is going to be worse than the Vegemite.
Vegemite on wasabi. Deal
Yeah.
with it. All right, question 3. How many states are needed to ratify an amendment for it to become part of the Constitution? I will take either the percentage or the number of states.
There's no within a certain number, right? We need the exact number.
You have to give me the exact percentage, or I will take states within 2.
Within 2. Okay. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, me too.
With no confidence.
Okay. All right, Matt, I haven't thrown it to you first in a while. What are you thinking?
Just to give me the extra 2 states here and there, I said 30.
Okay. And Neil?
I feel very stupid. I don't know why I put this number, but I put 16.
16%?
No, 16 states.
8 states.
16%.
Yeah, I don't know why I put 16.
America.
I shouldn't underestimate your math. That was good math in your head. So the correct answer is 3/4 of states are required to ratify a constitutional amendment. Currently, that would require 38 of the 50 states.
That makes more sense.
So when referring to computer memory, what does the acronym RAM stand for?
Oh, I just read this too. Oh, this is a tough one.
I think I got it. Which are words I always say before I don't got it, but we'll try it.
Neil has 1 word written down. He needs 2 more, most likely.
He is 33% of the way there.
He's staring at the words, hoping a third one just melts out of the page.
Isn't your brother an IT guy?
He is, yeah, and I can't.
Shame.
Would you like to phone a friend?
I should phone a friend, yeah. All right, I it's not right, but I'm just going to put a 0 on the amount of points I'm going to get on this one.
Okay. Matt, with some confidence, a little more confidence maybe. What did you say?
Random access memory.
All right, Neil.
RAID Apple memory.
Oh.
All right, so
Cue the Daft Punk
sharing a
soundbite.
With a Daft Punk Grammy-winning album, Random Access Memory.
Yeah.
Oh, see now I'll never forget that. Thinking of Daft Punk.
That's what it is.
That's why I always need something else to pull my answer from.
They need to have an album called CPU, and then you'll remember that one. And
Yeah.
that way.
Question 5. Which element, previously used in the production of felt, led to the expression, mad as a hatter?
Mad as a hatter. Production of felt?
Correct.
I really like this trivia question. Maybe because I know it. Maybe because I learned it in high school and never forgot it.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Which element, previously used in the production of felt, led to the expression, mad as a hatter?
One of my weakest subjects is the periodic table. That's why at pub trivia, I just don't say anything and let Jeff answer.
Yeah, I looked it up once, and I got nothing.
And I never took chemistry, so...
Looking back, I'm actually surprised it took me 14 questions to ask a science question.
You knew your audience.
I'm just trying to think of any element.
Okay. I don't think it's right, but I have some kind of reasoning.
I honestly can't even think of an element. Is iodine an element?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No helping.
Sorry. He has 117 others to choose from if iodine is not correct.
It's not Tennesseeum either.
Tennessean?
Tennesseum? Yeah, something like
Tennessean.
that. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm. Oh. That's element 117 for all of you who are happy that it got
Neil
nominated
is written in
and confirmed recently. On to Matt with the answer.
So, I was thinking it was an element that used to be used in production that, when he said Mad as a Hatter, something that would make them kind of go crazy. So I said mercury.
Oh, God.
So I was thinking mercury poisoning.
Okay, and Neil, what did you say?
I was trying to think of an element that would make people go crazy, and I was having such a brain fart. Is aluminum even an element?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I know it's wrong, but I just put aluminum for no reason.
Okay. Aluminum, fortunately, is not toxic because it's probably in your water bottle. And mercury is, in fact, correct.
Oh, that's the smartest question I've ever gotten, I think. I feel...
So it was used in the dyeing process for felt to make hats. And, it caused severe mental dysfunction.
Did Matt just pass me?
He did. After the fifth question in the second round, it is 80-70. Ooh. Matt just took the lead.
Question 6. While walking through the woods in 1941, George de Mestral was inspired by the burrs that clung to his pants, and he invented what product?
Gentlemen are deep in thought.
Yeah.
Can you spell his name?
Sure. George, as you'd expect, de Mestral, D-E space M-E-S-T-R-A-L.
I have an answer.
I'm trying to think of what a burr is. I think I know.
Neil's thinking. Matt's got it written in.
I have a thing written down.
I'm just trying to remember what burrs are.
Oh, that would probably be the first step to answering this question.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay, why don't you take it away?
I just went with Velcro.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
yeah,
Matt?
Velcro sound. I was trying to think of those little balls, Velcro things that you throw at things, but I couldn't come up with it. So I thought of a lint brush. It was something that would take stuff off his pants.
Okay. With burrs, they have hooks on one end, and they are Velcro's inspiration.
Whew. Can't believe Neil came up with that right at the last minute there.
All right. Question 7. What is the most popular breed of dog in the United States?
This is something I've definitely read.
I have an answer. I'm just trying to confirm in my head. My gut is going to say golden retriever, but I feel like the statistics I read were saying that it was a Labrador retriever or a lab. God, if it's golden retriever, I'm going to be pissed. But all right, I'm just going with lab.
Yeah, so I think we've had this question at trivia before.
Yeah, I think we have too.
And we said something stupid like Chihuahua or Poodle. And I believe the answer is Labrador.
Okay. And Neil, you said Labrador Retriever as well?
Lab, yeah.
Okay. It is, in fact, the Labrador Retriever.
Good thing I'm feeling a little good toward the end of this game here. I'm trusting my gut a little bit more.
I think our original reasoning, we went with smaller dogs because we were thinking people who have dogs in apartments are generally going to have smaller dogs, and then we got off Labrador, but it's definitely Labs.
Yeah, I think we said Poodle at my behest because I think I remember having read something about it, but I think I got my stat wrong.
Ken is over 2 on our trivia about dogs.
Not good with the dog question. The Irish Wolfhound thing was that I talked Neil out of an answer about the largest standing dog, and I talked him out of Irish Wolfhound, which turned out to be correct, and he won't let me forget about it.
No, I was going to make him a T-shirt. So the thing was, I was going to make him a T-shirt they would have to wear the next time we went to trivia if we lost by 2 points, and we lost by 3 points. So I couldn't make the T-shirt, but I just knew that because our neighbor has an Irish Wolfhound that walks around every day, and it's a sight to see. It's a huge dog.
All right, on to question 8. Within 1, how many letters are in the Russian Cyrillic alphabet?
I'm in.
I don't know.
Wrote quickly. I don't know.
I thought Neil was going to start writing the alphabet for a second. So.
Got a little weird there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Matt was in first. Let's turn to Matt.
I have no idea. I said 18.
Neil?
I just figured maybe they have a few more letters than us, so I just put 29 to give me 30 and 28.
So they do have a few more letters.
So I'm wrong.
Not as the same as the standard Cyrillic alphabet, but I would have accepted anywhere between 32 and 34 because the answer is 33.
Well, at least my reasoning was right.
Yeah.
Question 9 of round 2. What is the youngest movie on AFI's 2007 revised 100 Greatest American Movies of All Time? And youngest, most recent would also be a way to phrase
What
that.
was the year?
So in 2007, AFI revised their 100 Greatest American Movies of All Time. At that time, there was a very young film on there. What was the film?
All right.
You know, they're notorious for, things like Citizen Kane and going back quite a ways. But
Yeah.
one of them was very recent.
You mean as of 10 years ago?
As of 10 years ago, yeah.
I'm locked in, and I'll let Neil struggle with his thoughts.
To be fair, if you look at AFI's list, it's still relatively recent.
Yeah.
I mean, On the Waterfront wasn't exactly yesterday.
They don't change their movies a lot.
Let's see. Shawshank would be 94. Titanic would be 97. Almost Famous, if they included that. 01. Gladiator.
Is Almost Famous in the AFI wheelhouse?
I doubt it. I'm just trying to think of films that could be.
I do like it, but
Yeah.
that doesn't seem like something they'd put on the list.
When was Borat released? Does anyone know?
2006.
Oh, so it's eligible.
So is that?
So
could
2005?
Changing my answer.
2005.
Do you have the year? You don't have to give it to me. I was just curious if you know the year of the film.
So once your answers are locked in, I'll give you the year of the film.
Okay. Well, I know that they're going to include Titanic, so it's got to be post 97, or at least post 94, because Shawshank is one of the best movies of all time. And they probably included Forrest Gump for that matter. So we know it's post 94. I'm also guessing it's post 97. I'm thinking it's somewhere between 2000 and 2007. There's only one film that's coming in my head right now, but I believe I'm thinking of the British list of 100 greatest films, which I'm currently rolling through right now, which is screwing me up because I just recently read the British list, not the AFI list. I don't like it, and I think it's in the British list, but I'm in.
Okay.
No.
Matt, you're also in?
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to ruin it a little bit for you here, and I'm going to tell you that the year was 2001. All right. So, Matt, what was your answer?
So my answer for almost all of these is The Departed. So I said The Departed.
Okay. And Neil?
Now that you said 2001...
Well, what answer did you write
I'm going to
down?
give you my incorrect answer. I'm just trying to think in my head. My incorrect answer was There Will Be Blood, which I know is on the British list.
It's a phenomenal movie.
2001.
I think that was a little after 2007, though.
Yeah, I think it might have been 09.
Maybe 08?
It came out when I was in college. I graduated 2006, but it was later when I was in college for sure.
It might have even been 2010, right? So 2001. Oh, 2007. Look at that. Someone questioning my film knowledge again. Negative 1 points for Ken.
So Ken, as scorekeeper, is definitely last place with negative 1 points.
2001.
For a non-question.
I don't know. The only one I can think of is Gladiator.
So Gladiator was 2000.
That's what I figured, yeah.
And though the third part of this trilogy won most of the accolades,
give me a break.
2001's The Lord of the Rings,
I
The
have
Fellowship
to,
of
I have
the
to
Ring.
agree with the assessment.
Although I forgot that Neil is not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan, so I do feel a bit guilty for that question.
Well, that's because he's a fool.
The first one's a good movie. I like it. It's fine.
I use it to take naps.
Going into the last question of regulation. This one is pandering a little bit to some of the TV that I love, but in the television show The Office, what founding father historical figure does Jim order instead of a stripper for Phyllis's bachelorette party?
I didn't watch a lot of I watched The Office when it was on, but I think after season 3 or 4, I stopped. I can't remember how many there are. For some reason, I moved on to other shows. I can't think of which ones they were. But for some reason, one person would be a great stripper, one founding father. So I think I have an answer. I don't know if it's right, but I'm in. All
right, well, I'm curious to hear what Neil...
The sexiest founding father.
I'm very curious to see what Neil says on this. So, Neil, what is your sexy founding father?
For his wisdom and the fact that of his inventions, I put Ben Franklin. I thought he'd be a good stripper.
Matt, what did you say?
Yeah, I'm currently rewatching it again all the way through. I said Ben Franklin.
So Andrew Daly, from the Scholastic Speakers of Pennsylvania, portrays Benjamin Franklin. Well done.
It's a great episode.
Yeah.
Nicely done, guys. At the end of the second round, we are tied 100 to 100.
So now I'm going to give you the categories. There are 5 categories. Each player can wager no points at all, or up to 30 points per question, using the points that they have accumulated throughout the game and nothing more. Here are your categories. First one, U.S. presidents. Second category, Greek tragedies. Number 3, the elements. Question 4 is from music. Question 5, a little bit of philosophy. So think about those categories for a moment. Submit your wagers. Ken will collect them.
Didn't you major in philosophy?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Which is why I know how hard I can make questions. So
Is clarification Greek tragedies as in the Greek plays?
yes, as in the Greek plays.
Okay, not just tragedies of the Greek people.
No, we're not talking about Aristotle Onassis.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm in.
All right, and as always, we will find out what their wagers are after the answers are read. Leave a little bit of mystery here to see who ends up being the cream of the crop.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
All right, without further ado, let me give you your questions. Starting it off with presidents, pretty famous one here. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in what year?
Okay, my answer is in.
Okay, and on to Greek tragedies. Which Greek tragedy, written by Sophocles, concerns a man who kills his father and marries his mother?
I can't believe you asked this question. It's one of my favorite plays of all time, and I should have... Makes me so angry. I wrote a Japanese samurai television 4-part miniseries, an adaptation of this play that I still have. Oh, I'm so angry that you asked this question.
Sorry that I've angered you.
No, it's just because I didn't wager. It's just my wager wasn't as good as I should have made it.
I feel the same, to be honest.
Okay, and on to elements. PB is the chemical symbol for what element?
I'm going to come back to that.
Yeah, I wrote something down.
Okay, in music, this one concerns a.k.a. Vincent Furnier is better known by what stage name?
Vincent Furnier?
Can you spell that last name?
Sure, Furnier.
Vincent Furnier.
And on to philosophy, which again Neil pointed out that was my course of academic study. But I decided to not go too deep because I don't like having things thrown at me. So the Communist Manifesto was written by which 2 authors?
2 authors.
I thought one would be too easy.
Wow.
And I will take just last names if that's all you have. All right, so going back, the first question of the final. Just as a refresher, Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in what year? Ken, what were the wagers on this?
Matt had wagered 20, and Neil passed on this one and wagered 0.
All right, so Matt, you put your cards on the table.
Yep.
What was your answer?
1867.
Okay, and Neil, nothing here for you to gain, but what did you put?
I put 1865.
All right, so Neil, you should have bet a bit more. 1865 was in fact the correct year.
I had 1865 and I crossed it off and put 1867, and I don't know why.
Okay, on to Greek tragedies. What did we have for wagers, Ken?
Matt was taking a pass on this one and put 0, and Neil also put 0. So this question is of no consequence.
All right. Despite the fact that it's of no consequence, Neil seemed quite upset that I asked and he didn't wager. So Neil, why don't we see what you answered?
I should have bet everything. It was Oedipus the King.
I also said Oedipus.
All right. Yes, Oedipus the King is correct. I'll take Oedipus. Oedipus Rex. That's fine. All right. So scores don't change from that one. But on to elements. PB is the chemical symbol for what element, and what were the wagers?
Matt had 10 on this one, and Neil, again, took a pass.
All right, so Matt, what was your answer?
I said plutonium.
Okay. Neil, did you have a guess on this one?
I put peanut butter.
PB is the chemical symbol for something starting with so the Latin was the word plumnum. It's where we get plumbing from. The Romans used to make their pipes and aqueducts out of this. It's also why they got seriously poisoned. It is lead.
Mm-hmm.
It's very soft and malleable, so it was easy for them to make pipes and make good seals for the aqueducts. All right. So, music.
We had 20 for Matt on this one and 10 for Neil.
Okay. Vincent Furnier is better known by what stage name? Matt?
I said Bruno Mars.
Okay.
I didn't know. I was just trying to think of people who didn't have a normal name, and it wasn't ringing a bell. I know some people's real names, so I just put Iggy Pop.
So I feel like I'm not being a nice guy any longer. That would be Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Yikes.
A lot of other great songs too, but yeah,
Okay, we're taking some serious hits in this last round.
I didn't intend it that way.
Neil was wise by throwing in the towel.
Yeah, it seems to be that way.
I should have really bet a lot on it.
It doesn't matter.
It's okay.
Let me tell you, it does not matter.
This is unfortunate because I thought all of these were super easy. All right, so philosophy. What were the wagers?
Matt had 10, and Neil, again, bet 0.
All right, so Matt, are we adding to the pain here?
Yep.
Who did you put?
So Karl Marx
Yep.
and his brother John Marx, who so I don't know the other one.
And Neil?
I put Marx and Lenin.
It was Marx and Engels. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels.
In this case, fortune does not favor the bold, as Matt bet significant pointage on the final round and ended up with 40 points. Neil only bet once and ended up with 90 points. So Neil is the cream of the crop this week.
I am the cream, yeah.
Congrats, Neil.
Great game, Jeff. And I'm glad to actually be 1-1, which makes me feel a little bit better.
And it's 1-1, and I stayed away from your favorite topic of movies, so you should feel good about that.
And you got the one wrong.
I did, yeah. You picked the one.
There's the John Carter question, too. That was a
That's
movies
true.
question
Yeah.
as well, so...
All right, congratulations, Neil. Game well played. Thanks again, Ken, for sitting this one out and being our scorekeeper.
My pleasure.
And thanks to Matt. I know it didn't quite go the way you wanted it to today, but we appreciate you being here. If you'd like to play along with us, make sure to check out our Facebook page, download our official Triviality score sheet, so you can keep good track at home. Ken, how can people get in touch with us?
You can find us on Twitter using the handle @TrivialityPod. If you'd like to reach out to us by email, make sure to send messages to trivialitypodcast@gmail.com. And for question 5 submissions, just be sure to put that in the subject line. And we'd love to hear from you guys.
All right, of course, other than spreading the word, best way you can support the show, please rate, review, and subscribe to Triviality on your favorite podcast app. Until the next game, on behalf of Ken, Neil, Matt, and myself, again, my name is Jeff, and that was Triviality.
You know, I invented electricity.
I know.
Well, I'm sensing a little electricity right here.
Didn't Ben Franklin have syphilis?
Yes, but I don't.